Yeehaw! Am I right, guys? Can I get a yeehaw? Can I get a yeehaw?
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeehaw. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of 8-Bit Chat. As usually, not as always, I'm your host, Angelo Ram. I wasn't here last time. Sorry about that. And to my left is the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Smith, the baddest man in the West. And to my right, the cantankerous cowpoke Corbin, Landon Corbin. How you doing, Landon? You doing good today?
I am
The
good.
Black Ranger today, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very hard episode today because we don't have a lot to talk about in the gaming atmosphere. It sucks.
Yeah, really nothing has happened.
It's
this
a
week.
really dead day. Not a lot of news. Who am I kidding? Okay, we're going to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. We're going to talk about it the whole time. That's all we got to talk about. We got a ton to talk about. We're going to keep it spoiler-free, not only because we don't want to spoil it and because it came out today, but also because we didn't beat it. We have nothing to spoil, so to speak. I am 6 to 7 hours in, 15% total, I want to say. I'm guessing, but the 15% is what the game's telling me. What about you guys? You guys got any estimates as to how far you are into the game?
Mine said 11.3. I
Percent?
believe I'm like 5 or 6 hours in. I spent a while just riding around.
How about you, Lena?
I did not check my percentage, but all I know is I'm almost done with chapter 2.
Oh, okay. There you go.
have no idea how
So
far
I'm
into chapter
assuming
2 I
like
am.
maybe 8%, a little less.
And
Wait, 8%?
I spent a
No,
lot of time exploring.
that's good then. You probably got
If you're
percentage
at
up
the
enough.
end of chapter 2, you're way further than 8.
Oh, then
'Cause
okay.
8 is like the end of chapter
Wherever
1.
that takes me, I'm in it to win it.
Yeah, hey, I am not in a rush by any means necessary. I know that I
Exactly.
want this game to take a very long time.
Oh, God.
Oh, whoa.
Hold
Okay,
on a
we're
sec.
gonna get some reflection
Getting
here.
very
or some
meta.
echo, rather.
my bad.
So how you guys feeling about the game so far? It's obviously we're quite a bit in. We're not we're not that far, but we didn't just hop in or anything like that. We're a couple hours into. We would have beaten a normal game by now, so to speak. And Uncharted would have been done by now. Would have rolled credits, but we're just kind of breaking down and just kind of getting in there. What are you guys' initial thoughts?
I'm going to be honest. There is a lot of detail, a lot of attention to detail. Probably one of the best games that Rockstar has done in terms of, attention to every little thing. Other side.
No, it's not this thing. There you go. It's so hard.
Wait.
Where is it? It's impossible. Forget it. I can't. Oh, it is on the other side. Here we go.
No, it's not.
What?
It's
This
right,
is impossible.
It's right here.
Face on the keyboard. Put your face on the keyboard.
Hi, how you guys doing? Okay. All right. Anyway,
Oh, my
back
Lord.
to business.
But no, attention to detail.
Attention. Yeah, it's something only Rockstar can do. I'm sorry. I'm helping you out, production. There you go. You're welcome.
No, you're not.
All right. I know. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, something only Rockstar can do. It's something that we've only. I think it's something we've only seen in Grand Theft Auto. Similarly, in terms of this level of detail. We think of a game like Breath of the Wild or Horizon Zero Dawn. These other open world games
Or The
that are,
Witcher.
that have nature, and it's not only that, but for square foot, they're so big, but they also have every, you're gonna find something to take note of every couple feet. You're
Yeah.
gonna see someone who's offering a side quest. You're gonna see some piece of environmental storytelling that doesn't offer anything except your immersion.
Or random encounters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that Rockstar is really, really great at. What about you? What were your initial thoughts of the game opening for yours?
Well, I'm playing it on X, so it's native 4K on that, which is amazing. It is absolutely a gorgeous game.
Yeah.
Like, the world is the best character they have in this game, honestly, because you can just, riding around, you just get lost looking at everything, and yeah, I've already plotted, marked a few points on my map where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit there and make a time lapse, I'm gonna sit here and make a time lapse. Just
feel it.
because,
Yeah.
because with dynamic weather and actual time of day, and the clouds,
Oh,
I
the
don't know
clouds
I don't know if
are
you've looked
beautiful.
at it because they're using the same sort of technology in Horizon Zero Dawn where they have atmospheric clouds where in GTA 5 what it was just a sphere of a skybox with clouds pasted on it that just kind of rotated. But this one they actually can roll in and the sky darkens
I
before
was just
storms.
noticing that. Was right before I came to the studio was I just looked up. I was so focused forward and then I just I looked up and the clouds had volume and depth. And I'm like, What?
We're living in
What does a
3018.
game do
Yeah, and,
this?
and
What?
like if early in the morning, if you go across like a meadow or a plain, you can see the mist rolling in, and they're using like new technology that was, game developers share stuff. It was something DICE thought of and shared at the last developer conference thing, and they're using that, and you can see the light shine through. They've got volumetric lighting. They've got
You can see through
That's-
the ears.
Yeah,
Like, the
they've
light
got
shines
Oh, yeah.
through
the
ears. It's
subsurface
amazing.
scattering.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have done
Yeah.
it, but if you look at the horses, you can see all the musculature move. And if they're sitting still, if you look close enough, you can actually see the horses breathing.
Yeah, that's crazy. And similarly to what you guys said, except the exact opposite. Rather than the morning or anything like that, I was taken away by the nighttime. Because as soon as it was night, the first couple times, I went back to my camp. I went to bed. I didn't want to deal with anything like that. But I stayed up all the way through the night on the last time I played through. And the night sky is incredible.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense because there's no civilization or smog or anything to destroy your ability to see the night sky. And so the stars and the expanses you can see are
Yeah,
breathtaking.
I noticed that at the sunset the last time I was playing. It's
Yeah.
just kind of
Yeah.
like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah. That being said, there are some flaws, I think, or not flaws, so to speak, but lots of hype around this game. Needless to say, definitely the biggest, most hyped game of the year. I mean, Spider-Man second, God of War third, something like that. But other than that, I mean, like this game has taken everything or everyone by storm. Opening few hours, I think that this is a game, especially coming off of GTA 5, which is really a game that's one of the most successful of all time. Everyone has played it.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is a game for everyone. And that's weird to say, like I said, coming from a Rockstar game, but it's very slow. In a good way. And it's
Yeah, no,
very
yeah.
artsy and it's very serious. I'm getting more Last of Us vibes than even Red Dead Redemption 1 vibes. It's very meticulous and slow rather than kind of off the rails and kind
Yeah,
of Grand Theft
because
Auto.
like the intro mission is the entirety of the first chapter, and that's a solid 2-3 hours.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
everything is. There's no like lost detail. Like everything has a purpose, and like, coming into the game, people expect like, oh, let's do like, I don't know, like a train robbery. Everything's fast paced. No, it's like, it's easing you into the game in a good way
Yeah, they're definitely
without throwing you in.
they're definitely utilizing vertical learning very well because like we're 15% in, and you're still doing like the missions you're doing are like still tutorials on
Yeah.
like all the things you can do in the world. Like
We were just talking
you
about I
can-
couldn't brush my horse, but you guys told me that I got that
in-
ability
in-
later.
Since it's open world, there's now locked. It's semi-locked to the mission progression, so you get a bunch of missions at a time, and you can do one and then progress through each. So we've done missions other people haven't. Like you can be a debt collector. You can. That's one of the ways you make money is Herr Strauss, the German, lends money to people, and then you go and get the money back.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
And,
it's
yeah.
like I said, the thing that's different is that rather than in Red Dead Redemption, the original, it starts off and you do have a couple hours of tutorial missions and stuff like that, but you can leave the McFarlane farm at any time.
Yeah.
You're brought to the McFarlane farm, but then you could leave hypothetically in the middle of the tutorial. Whereas this, I'm not even going to spoil where you are, but you're sequestered off. Like you can't just. I don't think so.
I haven't tried.
I didn't try.
I never
either.
tried.
in the first.
The first chapter until
you are locked on the mountain.
You are?
It at least
Yeah.
seems like you are because you're not connected to civilization at
Yeah.
all, and the whole point is that you're kind of stranded somewhere.
Yeah,
getting
and-
your
I mean, like,
bearings.
this isn't spoiling anything, but like, the beginning of the story is you're an outlaw.
yeah.
You're getting
running from
away.
the cops, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole
So
there's
there's-
a whole intro to the entirety of.
Yeah.
It's no longer the age of outlaws; it's the age of the law. So all the gangs and former outlaws are on the run and in trouble. So it starts with I believe like a botched robbery attempt on a boat in Blackwater.
Yep.
And the Pinkertons are in this game. And if you know anything about American history or have played BioShock,
Yeah,
you know,
Bioshock Infinite.
you know about the Pinkertons as well. Very, very violent contract killers, lawmen. But you're on the run from them, so you head up into the mountains after you got set up on the boat robbery. But your character's at the same place you are, where he came in to reinforce. after it already happened. So you don't have any idea what went down. He doesn't, and a lot of the only like half the characters were there
Yeah.
at the actual ship when the robbery started. So you don't know what's happening, but neither does your character, which is a great way to start telling a story.
Yeah, that being said, that's my only. Arthur is the antagonist that you play as, obviously, like that. And I'm a huge John Marston fan, so I'm not going to try and equate the two or compare the two or anything like that. But I feel like I'm not connecting with Arthur as much as I want to be.
Yeah, they made him, from what I've played so far, a lot more flat than John is.
He's a lot worse of a guy. He's a lot dumber of a guy, seemingly. But additionally, something that's huge in terms of connecting with the characters that you said, yeah, that you're kind of learning the situation as the character learns it. However, you start the game in the gang. That's the whole point. Again, it's not a spoiler or anything like that. You're in the gang, and that's kind of the whole point. And he already has these relationships with the characters. He's been in the gang for 20 years.
Yeah.
And in the original Red Dead, you're kind of meeting people as John meets them. If he knows someone, like members of his old gang, he'll tell you and he'll explain it. But I'm having a hard time a little bit because they have these built-up relationships that I don't really know yet.
Yeah,
You know?
and throughout the tutorial, like, when you're first on the mountain, you have to go find John. This isn't a spoiler at all, because it's the first, like, one of the first missions. But you have to go find him, and it gives the backstory on how he got the scars on his face as well, which is a nice touch. But you go and find him, and then after that, your character has a problem with him. Like, he really doesn't like John, but you don't find out why.
I don't even know why.
Yeah, you don't find out why until a few missions in when you're riding with someone else and they start talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
if you don't care.
I do care. I do
Okay.
care. I do care.
I mean,
But yeah, no, I get what you're
it's on
saying.
the
Yeah.
mission with Hosea. is when
Okay,
you
yeah.
learn
But yeah,
about
no,
it.
it's totally.
The one you haven't done yet.
Yeah, it's totally. It treats you, it treats the player with respect and stuff. Like, it's not going to rush things, and it very much takes its time, which I really appreciate. Do you guys have any good stories of your travel so far? Like, how'd you handle the first little bit after you entered the open world?
So it was kind of weird. The world finally opened up, and one thing I like to do, especially that I did with Red Dead 1, was, the world opens up. I'm gonna take my horse, and I'm just gonna ride out and see what I find. I'll come back to the missions later. I just kind of want to explore, kind of see what I'm dealing with, and not even 5 minutes after just exploring, I found this guy on the side of the road with a bear trap stuck to his leg, and I saved him. And then just a little bit down the line, there was a person getting robbed by the O'Driscolls.
Yeah. The opposing gang.
Yeah,
The game,
and I tried to save the person, but I guess you can't, because I don't know. I had it all set up. I was hiding, and I was gonna get vantage on him. But the second I fired the first bullet, they just took out the hostage and then just started going crazy on me. I'm
You
like,
probably had to do it stealth.
Yeah, maybe with the
Because there are
throwing
stealth.
knives.
There are stealth mechanics.
stealth events. Yeah.
Because there's one mission because you're after Colm O'Driscoll, the leader, and in the beginning during the tutorial you capture Kieran, a former former O'Driscoll, because he's not connected with them anymore, and he tells you where they're at, where he's supposed to be, and you have a stealth mission to go in there. And the one thing I'm disliking about them is throwing knives. It makes sense, but I don't like it because there was a guy sitting by a fire, and I threw a throwing knife, and I was like, oh, that'll kill him. Except I hit him in the arm, so it didn't kill him at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
actually.
I was pleasantly surprised and extremely disappointed because then a shootout, like the
Yeah,
entire...
in Call of Duty, when you melee someone's legs, they just collapse. They're
Yeah,
dead.
and I'm used to most games when you're using stealth mechanics. Like, besides like bow and arrows and stuff, it's like the head, obviously. But like throwing knives are usually like instant death.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the first one you come up to, you throwing knife him in the back because he's relieving himself on a tree, is the way I'll put that. And it kills him instantly, so I'm like, oh cool, throwing knives kill instantly. And then you go knife two people, and it's like, okay, that makes sense because you're up close and personal. And then you immediately learn oh wait, no, it's not. It's not an instant kill, and then you have to reevaluate the entirety of how you're going to proceed with conflict. Another thing I've noticed, besides Rockstar makes beautiful games and the story so far is okay, haven't gotten too much into it. The thing Rockstar absolutely sucks at is controls. And I don't mean like how the horse controls, which is subpar. I mean the actual controller layout. I should not have to hold A
Yeah, to run.
to run, and I play claw, so my index fingers run over so I can move the camera at the same time because the camera follows the horse and everything, which is cool, nice, but I want to see where I'm going before I turn. So I'm turning the camera, but I have to hold A, and then you encounter someone, and then you have to hold left trigger to bring up the menu, and then another button input to do that. So I'm sitting here holding this, and it's like, oh, I need to shoot him. I'm running out of fingers. Like, this is the first game where I use an Elite controller just purely for the metal sticks because apparently I'm way too rough on my controllers and I wear this down quick. So I just have the paddles off because they get in the way of my fingers. This is the first game where I've actually thought I might have to put some paddles on so I can actually play this correctly because sprint's A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cover is right bumper, which is fine. That's normal. Reload is B. Rockstar, make it X. Every other game does it except you. X is jump. Just
Yeah,
stop
it's
making
not-
B reload.
But would B be jump?
I don't know. Man.
I
haven't had
would be
trouble
fine with that because B is usually melee in other games,
Yeah.
so it would make sense there. But sprint could go on a stick, like the left stick, instead of crouching. Like they just stick with their same controller layout, and I feel like no one has told them, "Hey, you have the worst controller layout of any AAA title ever." Like even switching to play Horizon on a PlayStation 4 controller, which is like my first foray into the PlayStation controller, which I personally absolutely hate. It's just it's designed poorly for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But like
wish there were options
Horizon
to
was
change at
intuitive,
least.
but Rockstar's when they first you're going through the tutorial and they're like tap A to run. It's like the fact that they have to tell you that shows that their controls are
Not intuitive.
because everyone would be like, oh, right stick in sprint. Nope, tap A.
See, I've gotten used to Rockstar's games,
Same.
so like when they tell me tap, well X because it's PlayStation, but when they say tap X to run, I'm just like, okay, it's like
See, the only
I'm used to it now.
The only problem I've run into in regards to controls is that reload and melee are the same button. And so
Yeah.
I was shooting someone, and I finished, they were dead, and all that kind of stuff. And so I run up, and I'm about to get back on my horse. I was like, I should probably reload. And so I go to reload, and I just punch my
Yes,
horse.
yes,
I just punch it, and it gets mad and like kicks me, and I go flying, and it runs away.
There are some interactions that, like, it's great you have the level of freedom to do it, but they need to lock down some of the controls because, like, I was at my horse, and like you pull up, you have to hold left trigger to interact and stuff. I kind of forgot because I'd been standing there so long holding the trigger that it wasn't a menu that I tap and it comes up. So I press B to try and close out of it, straight punch the horse, and it just runs off. And you're like, great, now I have to go chase down my horse. And then when I was buying the new horse, because I'm compulsive like this, and there are stars next to everything, I had to go and clear them all. I accidentally spent so much money that I went and reloaded the mission purely because I ran it, like, I spent too much money because I was trying to look through everything and I was accidentally pressing A on things, which instantly buys it.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like you click in to like the tab of different types of saddles.
Yeah, I was
and then it's
watching
there,
through all
and then
of them.
you scroll across to the different colors. But I was like trying to preview, and apparently my dumb brain forgot that it's automatically previewing. So I pressed A on accident because I was trying to spam
Okay.
through them to clear everything. It just a lot of the other things you have to hold it down. Like if you're in a
Yeah.
store, you have to hold it down to buy something. But in there, you can just tap it, and oops, you accidentally just spent $100, which is a lot in this
On a
game,
saddle.
obviously.
I
on
immediately
a saddle
spent
on accident.
$100 making my gun gold.
Yeah, that's what
I
did
about did
silver
that,
and gold
but
for
I
my
was like,
revolver.
Nah, and I guess I don't. Yeah, I'm assuming you guys have the base version. I think I accidentally pre-ordered a higher version,
Okay.
or something because
Was
I
it
had
80
free
bucks?
I had free guns. Yeah, I had free guns and free horses, and I was like,
Oh wait, did you do it before August 15th?
no,
Oh, was there a time kind of?
There was. You get extra stuff if you did it before a certain time.
I didn't
cool.
think I did, but maybe I did. I don't know.
I did it.
But I
2
had
weeks
extra
ago,
stuff,
or
and
a
I was
week
just
ago,
like-
so I didn't get.
I was just
anything.
like, okay, I guess
I'll
there's
take
there
it.
there are some guns in here that are $0. Let me buy them. So that's immediately what I did, and I was gonna try them out. I'm like, I don't want to spend money yet.
My only other funny story besides punching the horse is still involved with the horse, which is that so in most games, including Red Dead, the original, and that kind of stuff, when you run a horse into someone, you'll keep running into them, and then you'll have to move around. Like the game doesn't register.
no.
In
Yeah,
this
this is-
game, I ran into a guy on a horse, and both of us collided and flew.
The horse
and,
is
the horse was
flying.
ragdolling all over the place.
Yeah, that's another thing that's super impressive in this game is the attention to the detail they gave for the physics. Like
Yeah,
when your
absolutely.
character's
Yep.
walking and riding around, like your holsters going, your bag, everything. They're using like fake texture boxes on your clothes to like they're contorting it to make like clothes wrinkle and twist. But the physics on the horse, and this is a problem with their controls being a little not as tight as they should be. Like you're riding a horse through the woods because you're trying to take a shortcut, and there needs to be at least a little give on it because you can't be perfectly precise on the controller. That kind of steers you away from trees, but they don't have that. So you just run into a tree and your horse just crumples into a heap, and then you go and you're just like, you feel so bad for the horse, but like the physics and the animation on it are spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I just wish it was a little bit harder to do that.
I gotta say, there's one thing that I found out late last night before I started playing that changed the way I played because I like minimalist HUDs and that kind of stuff. And thankfully, the game already has a pretty minimalist HUD. But I found
Turn it off.
Yeah, you can for sure. It makes the game a little more difficult, but it's such a pretty game as we already talked about. And I don't like staring at the HUD the whole time instead of taking in the environments. And so there's actually something I don't normally do. There's a companion app. Not
Oh yeah.
and I highly, highly, highly recommend downloading. It actually works supremely well. So I turn off the HUD, or the mini map on my game, and so the map comes up in real time on your phone. And like I thought there'd be some lag or stuff like that,
Oh,
but
that's-
there's none. Like you can zoom in, and it's totally like as you move, it'll move, and as soon as you stop, it stops. Like it's very, very receptive.
Yeah, I kind of hate having to hit start to get to the map.
Yes,
And it kinda
should
just-
be the touchpad. Yeah, for us. For us,
But is
PS4
that
dweebs.
is touchpad camera?
Yes.
Oh, but speaking
Yeah,
of
that's-
camera, wow. Like I'm gonna be honest.
You're rocking FPS.
I have never experienced first person, like especially with like a Rockstar title, this well. The game, in my opinion, is so like you can play it third person or you can play it first person.
The same
I
way as
actually-
GTA 5 on the current.
see-
when they re-released
Yeah,
GTA 5 on the current,
GTA
they
5
added
first person made me sick. I don't know
Same,
what it
yeah,
was
when you
about
crash
it.
the
So
cars,
you can
it's
handle
great.
the view bobbing?
Oh my gosh, Red Dead 2, the first person, for some reason, like it's so comfortable. Like I tried it out, and I was in the mountains doing the John mission, and I was like, it feels natural. Like I've not felt that with a Rockstar game, being in first person, because
It comes naturally. It comes naturally when you
No singing.
I don't know. It's in personal opinion, I can play it third and first person, but I'm actually preferring first person.
That's surprising.
It's
Oh,
crazy, yeah.
That's awesome.
GTA 5 turned me off to their first
Exactly.
person.
I
because
thought-
I had tried it and there were like some game modes that would lock you the first person.
Ugh.
And the running and everything, like it's just sickening.
Well, GTA 5, because they didn't really intend for it to be first
Yeah.
person, but then they're like, hey, try it out. And when you run and your camera just goes,
Yeah, this and then bobbing up
Crazy.
and down. Yeah, I've heard there's view bobbing on it, like on the first person camera.
in Red Dead 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very slight. It doesn't jar you and make you feel sick, though.
Okay, well, I have a problem with view bobbing in the first place. Like, it's going to be the weirdest game to equate it to, but it's one of the only games that has it and you can turn it off, which is Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
When you're in first person, there's a view bob, and it's not that much, but
Yeah,
I
it's slight.
absolutely have to turn it off because it makes me sick. I just can't handle it because they're trying to make it more realistic, where like when you walk in real life, you're moving up and down and you're bobbing. Except your brain doesn't see it that way. You're like
Yeah, 'cause you're
automatically
sitting in place.
you're automatically compensating when you're walking in real life. So like your field of view's changing, but it doesn't seem that much to your brain. But when you're sitting in place, it kind of tricks you. and it messes with my head, and so it
Yeah, I
it'll make
understand
me start
that.
feeling sick. So that's one of the main reasons why, like, if there's a turn off view bop, I automatically do it. And most first person games like Call of Duty and other stuff just don't have it in there as a feature or a drawback, just because it's something that's so subjective. It's kind of like VR, how it makes some people sick, other people not, and FOV sliders and stuff.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, I don't mind it as much because I prefer it to, as long as it's not too bad, like it makes you nauseous. Because GTA did make me
Oh
nauseous.
my god, I couldn't handle it.
Because when you get like hit and it'll just, because like
You're rolling and-
Exactly, it has no chill whatsoever. But
Though when you're in first person and you crash your horse,
oh, is it like that too?
be ready.
Is it,
because
is it
you'll,
the
you'll
same as getting hit by a car in GTA
no,
first person?
No, it's not as bad. But like when you hit the wall with your horse, it's just like you'll hit it, you'll fall to the ground, and your character will just kind of sit there, and you can just like him thinking like, why did I do this? And
like,
then he gets back up, and it's good. It's
I like
good.
it more than like I think like I guess Doom has. I don't think Doom has bobbing or anything like that. I think
it's
like
very slight.
Okay, I think of like
Yeah.
Portal when I think of like cameras that don't bob at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Valve games. in
Yeah,
general?
I like that, but it feels too much like a floating camera to me sometimes, which is why I like a little bit of Bob.
Yeah,
not too
Doom-
much
just
Bob.
a slight.
Not too much
Just
Bob.
slight.
Not too much Robert.
I think
Just a little bit of Robert.
Doom is one where it tricks and it looks like it's bobbing, but I think it's just the weapon moving
Yeah,
up
I
and
think
down
that
with
is
this
what it is,
thing,
yeah.
just so your entire
There's
camera's-
ways of getting
Plus, Doom
around
is so
it.
fast that
Yeah,
I think
that's
that it
true.
just straight up
Yeah,
speeds you through.
and Doom has always looked like that, so it seems more natural. In Doom, I haven't looked at the settings extensively, but does first person have an FOV slider on console?
I haven't checked it yet.
Because
I just
that
kind
may
of
be
turned
my
it on
problem,
and just went with it.
because Doom inherently, at least on console, has a wide FOV, which is why I think it can get away with that. But if there's an FOV slider on first person, I may have to do that, because as someone who plays both console and PC has spoiled me with FOV sliders, and
Yeah.
having it wide just gives you a wider field of view in the first place, and it stops like simulation sickness and stuff like that. So it's really nice.
Well, see, I would assume with these next gen consoles that they would start
'Cause,
bringing in
yeah,
more.
some games have FOV
video.
sliders. It's more
Yeah,
of
they're
it's
more
more of
PCs
whether
than
the
consoles.
developer wants to add it, and I'm not a coder or anything, but it seems like it shouldn't be that hard for
Yeah.
like one engineer, because it's just a camera setting that changes where the camera's positioned, like in your character's head, more or less. So it just widens thing out. Some developers don't like doing it because it shows flaws, like in Valve games, in Portal and Half-Life. If you pull your FOV too wide, you can see where the player's arm cuts off. So it's just a floating hand
Yeah,
holding
it's
a
not
gun.
a model. It's
yeah.
just the arm.
Yeah.
So what are you guys gonna do next? What's your plan? Are you beelining it through the story missions? Are you going around and you're trying to just take in the world, just driving in one direction? What's your plan going forward?
I've been doing missions, and then anytime like a pop-up mission comes on, like the wanted poster, like a random person that's like the question mark on the map, I go to that and start doing it, because most of those missions are things that you can just do while you're doing other missions. But so far, I'm just trying to do more missions to unlock, because it's still kind of the tutorial level.
Still 10 hours in.
So to unlock everything, because like you haven't got the horse brush, which is
No.
annoying. There's
Wait, you
one.
haven't gotten that?
No, they keep yelling at me about my horse is so dirty, and I kept going up to it to brush it, and it was like, you can't do that. And I was like,
That
"All right."
is a criticism I've seen, is taking care of your horse is like a Tamagotchi.
A little bit.
You
yeah.
have to feed it, you have to brush it,
How do you
or
guys
wash
feel?
it.
Sorry, kind of skipping away from the question I already asked. How do you guys feel about the minutia of keeping him healthy and whatnot? They have Breath of the Wild kind of temperature gauges. They have food, like you can gain weight or lose weight.
I was about to say,
I
you can be
didn't-
underweight or overweight.
I didn't know that. I just knew that
It tells-
like
it told
it
me.
pops up and it's like you need to eat, sleep.
Yeah. It's like, and it was telling me, I was freaking out about this. I don't know why. But it was like, eat full meals. If you eat snacks too often, you'll gain way more weight than you need to. And I was like, wow, this is a nutritionist game. Like,
A little. Well, this is what they did in San Andreas, and people got mad, and so they took it out of every other Grand Theft Auto. Now you have to eat
It's
healthy
like-
again.
because like if you eat like quick provisions
Mm-hmm.
instead of like cooked meat or like
It's like junk food.
the full on
Yeah.
and I think it even called it junk food. It was like you gain weight super quick,
Mm-hmm.
and your character's stamina lowers, your health core lowers.
Yeah, it's not just a
It's like-
cosmetic thing. It's like you get screwed
yeah,
if you
your
are
character's
over or underweight.
stats drop.
The health cores and the health bars, I understand why they do it. Like in GTA, for the characters at least, like as you played and sprinted, it was the same in online. Like your stamina would increase as the more you sprinted in the game, which is kind of like a random thing. There were stat increases that kind of hindered your character, but not as much, and it was kind of arbitrary to when it would increase or not. And like for the health wheel, like it's clearly that's going to be able to get leveled up because you have things as you do it. Like I've noticed when I skin animals and put them on my horse, I get a dead eye increase every single time.
Yeah. Okay, that's the one question I have for you guys in terms of the horse brush was one thing I didn't have yet. How have you guys sold pelts yet? Because
Yes.
I keep
I haven't tried
skinning-
yet.
I keep skinning animals. I don't do anything with them. I just put them on my horse and
Oh
just
yeah, I
walk
just
around.
have a bunch of like silver, and I have a bunch of watches.
Yeah.
A
Well, you
bunch
can
of-
sell those at the general store.
I've tried.
Oh, yeah? They
Every
don't
time I
accept them?
tried to, they're like, "We don't accept that here." I'm like,
You probably
just have it.
because I remember something being mentioned about fences, people who sell stolen goods. So
Okay.
that might be something.
it said something about
I'm
fences.
I'm not sure.
I just unlocked the first fence.
Come out here, Logan.
God,
Come talk to us. Big old Logie boy is also playing the game, but he didn't get a hat,
I'm not a cowboy.
so he's not a cowboy. Come speak into my neck.
Oh, here.
Come and trance
Oh.
me.
Here.
Talk to us about selling goods.
About
and
selling
services.
goods?
Yeah, the fences.
Well, I didn't actually sell anything to the fence yet. I unlocked it and then I came here. So
Go back in the
there we go.
What? No, but so you get like gold nuggets and stuff that you can't sell at general stores and stuff, and you have to sell it at the fence.
Have you sold pelts?
No.
God dang it, because I found a trapper.
Bye, everybody.
Right now. Thank you, Logan. Thank you very much.
Let me reattach this real quick. I've sold the hunting trip like tutorial for legendary animals you go on with Hosea.
They're legendary animals you can kill that unlock like special outfits at the trappers.
Oh,
So I killed the legendary bear and sold it because I was trying to figure out whether like you had to keep the pelt.
You know,
for it
Logan's
to unlock.
actually a legendary bear.
Yes, he is. I was trying to figure out whether he had
Just
to.
because it's true doesn't mean you get to talk about it on the podcast.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry.
I was unsure because it said like you can sell them for money, obviously, but it's like you have to have these certain things to unlock the outfits, and it was unclear whether you had to somehow keep them or not. But you sell them, and then the trapper retains that, and you unlock it, and then you give another pelt, and you combine them. So it's the trapper is more of you sell them to get the money, and then you unlock the unique outfit that you can do in each pelt. Like the legendary bear was worth 3 of the legendary bear things needed, but you have to like mix and match other legendary animals to unlock it. So it looks like the trapper retains that, and the trapper, I believe, also moves.
Yeah, he's wandering.
Yeah.
There's one always in St. Denis, but there's also one that's wandering.
Yeah, I've only encountered the one that's wandering, but I haven't sold that. The other thing with horses, and because I did this on accident, is I skinned a deer, and then I was like, oh wait, I want the whole thing so I can donate it to the camp for food. Whatever. You can pick it up and put it on the horse,
oh,
and then the back of your horse will get bloody. And as
I
you
care too much about my horse to do that.
yeah, and as you because I
just brush your
I
horse.
My horse is dirty enough.
Yeah, and then
brush
you
your
brush your
horse.
horse, and it magically fixes it.
Can't
of
do
course.
that yet.
But then, like as I was carrying it into camp, like you're carrying the deer on your shoulder, and then you get rid of it, and now your shoulder has blood on it too.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an attention to detail that I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't done it accidentally.
Oh yeah, if you go up to someone and you take your knife and you stab them and you get blood on you, people look at you.
Sound like a sociopath.
Okay, so look, when people
People act
When you stab somebody,
people act really weird when you go up to them and stab them. It's like, yeah,
okay, so
yeah, Landon.
I'm trying to get my rep
That's
up.
murder.
I'm trying to get my rep up, and then people will be like, "Don't talk to me," and I start antagonizing him. Like I start
Oh,
getting him mad.
Are you a bad guy or are you playing a good? Are you playing
I'm
it
trying to
straight?
play good, but when people are mean to me, like
You gotta
I'm
kill him.
sorry, you're done. Like you had your chance.
The thing, this is always a thing with Rockstar game, and it's the police. In GTA, it's always
gosh.
you touch a police car, you get 3 stars. All this sort of stuff. And they've implemented a thing where there are witnesses, and you can chase them down.
I was in
and-
Red Dead 1 as well.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was as fleshed out as this, where you can intimidate them or whatever. But sometimes it's like someone witnessed that, and then you get the red circle for your wanted. And like if you leave the red circle, but there's red marks on the edge of the thing. I also need to look into settings for colorblind settings because that red mark at the edge of the circle is almost impossible for me to see half the time.
Oh yeah, on the mini map.
On the
there's-
mini map, there's like
maps for
it's
them.
just a little red bar that covers the edge of it, and I can't see it sometimes. But I don't know if that's a police officer or a witness because like someone witnessed that and it doesn't give me a red mark on the mini map for me to go interrogate or intimidate, whatever. But there was. It also is annoying because I did this recently when you collect debt, like the guy gets in a fight with you and then the woman says, take the money off of him, he has it all. And you do that and then someone sees you do that and they're like, oh, you stole. And then you go chase the witness down. And I was trying to intimidate him and he pulls a gun and I'm like, okay, don't shoot me, please, sort of thing. And then intimidate him and then he's like, no, you can't intimidate me or whatever. And then he starts shooting me and in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm now well within my rights.
This is self-defense now.
This is self-defense, and it worked like that in GTA. If someone started punching you
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, if you beat them, you wouldn't get a wanted level. Sometimes because it was a little finicky with their AI. But he unloads fire. And I'm like, okay, well, within my rights to shoot and kill him now. Do that, and then everyone on the farm pulls out guns and starts shooting at me. I'm like, okay, and then I get a wanted thing, and it's like investigating. I was like, are you kidding me? And so then I get my horse and ride out, and now I have a $5 bounty.
That's
because
not too bad.
It's not too bad, but because someone shot me and I shot back and killed them because I'm a better shot.
And see, I don't know if this is a glitch or not. I've been having a lot of problems with, like, I'll go off alone. I'll put on my bandana.
Yeah,
Get that stuff going.
I've also been
Bandana.
neglecting to put on my bandana, which may be a problem.
And then, like, I'll do a crime of some sort. A
little
little bit of robbery, a
intimidation,
little bit of intimidation. And then they're like investigating Arthur Miller. I'm like, how did you know?
Arthur Morgan. Yeah.
Or Arthur Miller. Yeah, we're
It turns out your mask is like see-through. It's just a little transparent.
and like I check to make sure, and it just says like it has the check mark next to the little bandana, and I'm like, why?
See, when I shot the person who shot me, self-defense. It was self-defense.
Turns out it was the
It just
president.
said investigating. It didn't have a name, but there was one time when I was in Valentine where I don't even remember what happened. I think, some guy started punching me, so I punched him back. Of course, apparently people do not like it when you defend yourself in this game.
Oh, but it's okay if you defend yourself against Tommy.
Yeah, except Tommy. But the guy in front of the store, like, because this is once again something about the controls not being as tight as they should be for how the interactions work. I accidentally bumped into him because I was trying to walk in a straight line, which is the hardest thing to do in any Rockstar
they
game
hate you.
apparently. And so I bumped into him. So then he decks me, and I'm like, okay, you're going down now, and do that, and then it immediately is like gives me a wanted level, and it says Arthur Morgan. I was like, I don't even see the police yet,
Yeah.
and somehow they know exactly who I am. But I think it's just because it was a town, because when that happened outside of a town, it didn't give my name. But then there was another part where I was trying to go into a bar, and the O'Driscolls were outside, and I was like, trying not to get into a fight because I'm in the middle of the town. Like, this is going to go poorly. I accidentally bump into them. They immediately start unloading or fighting me, and I was like, okay. And then my health was getting low because I'm fighting 3 of them, and the combat system for brawls is a little unintuitive.
Yeah.
Which is another control issue where you block with X but punch with B but grapple with Y when left trigger could easily be block.
Yeah.
Which is what I kept trying to do when I was first fighting.
That
There
makes-
is a counter system though if you block, which they don't explain at all. It's just something I
Yeah.
figured out accidentally as I was mashing B or circle
That being said,
to
I find
fight.
that the system that you can interact with literally anyone to be super intuitive. That you can literally, as you're passing by with anyone, as long as you aim at them, you can talk to them, you can interrogate, you can intimidate them.
Yeah.
Howdy.
It's really
the
nice.
name's Arthur Morgan.
Miller.
The name's Arthur Morgan. Nice to meet you.
It really does make the world feel more alive.
Oh,
where
yeah,
you
no,
can
it's great.
interact with anyone, and it's like stranger, and then if you figure out their name, then it puts their name in the corner.
Welcome to the Wild West, madame.
but greeting people
the
on
name
horses.
is Arthur.
But greeting people on horses and doing all of that is once again a point where the controls limit you because you're riding a horse, which you don't actually have to press up on the left stick to ride forward, but you have to steer. And you're holding A or tapping A to gallop, and then you have to left trigger, and then it's like, oh, press X to greet. And I'm like, okay, do that. And there is some leeway on letting go of A, but sometimes it'll stop immediately, and other times it won't stop at all, and it's getting to an annoying point for me. But there's just too many button inputs at the same time you need to do to greet while you're riding a horse, or like lasso things. And again, a better control scheme would fix a lot of
You
this.
should be an octopus.
I'm about. See, the thing with
I
the
mean-
Elite controller,
If he was an octopus.
But you'd have less.
You're right. You have
See?
10 instead of 8.
See?
All right. Maybe a millipede. You think a
point
millipede's
to
having a
land
good
in.
time? Right, playing Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yes. yes. Just
The name's Arthur. All right, let's wrap it up. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up. So what
you
are?
interrupted me though.
Okay, what?
The one thing is, I don't know if PlayStation has something, but with the Elite controller that came out for Xbox, you can remap everything. There's an actual like app where you can remap buttons on any controller whatsoever. So I may end up remapping buttons just purely to do it, but I feel like there'll be issues because you can't, because multiple inputs are on the same thing, which is a developer level problem. But Rockstar, make better controls, please.
Anyway, so what are your final thoughts? Really quick, wrapping it up. Like, is this going to argue for your game of the year? Is this, what are your? We're not, we are hopefully just on the precipice of, this extraordinary game. So, what are your initial thoughts on the what you've experienced so far?
I would say, definitely a contender for Game of the Year. There's been a lot of pretty good titles coming
Yeah.
out this year. But, all in all, the game is intuitive. It's got everything going for it. There's a couple flaws, but I mean,
That's a Rockstar game.
everything has, especially Rockstar. I mean, like everything has a couple problems, but
It's like having a Bethesda game ship and assuming there won't be any bugs in it.
Hey,
Like Rockstar,
Yeah.
every developer has their thing. Rockstar has always been controls.
frankly,
and Bethesda's always
yeah.
been
for
bugs
as
and
many,
glitches.
for as many complaints they come up with this game shouldn't exist. Like, it's too pretty, it's too big, it's too expansive, and deep in terms of everything you can do. And we're very lucky to have it. But
I'm trying to grow out a beard and then get a handlebar mustache. That's
good.
That's
yeah,
like
that's another thing that's really cool is that your
Man.
character grows facial hair over time.
yeah.
It really shows the attention to detail they've put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think it's going to be God of War. Could be second, maybe third.
Yeah.
I still got to finish Celeste,
That's what I
and
was feeling.
Spider-Man's good. But we'll hopefully, like I said, a lot more to go. What about you, bud? Initial thoughts in terms of your thoughts on the game. Should people spend the $60 on it? Because I think it was kind of an obvious thing so far in our.
Yeah, it's so far from what I've played, it's a beautiful game. As much as I complain about the controls, they are tighter than the old Red Dead, the GTA 5 even. They're getting better. They just need to learn button layouts. But so far, story's good enough from what I've gone through, and we're only 10% in, so it still hasn't even really kicked off. I would recommend it. I will hold story review until I actually get to see
Yeah,
some
that's
story.
probably safe considering we really haven't seen a story yet.
But the game is really a masterclass for Rockstar, showing every developer that if you take the time to have a long enough development cycle, which is something I've been complaining about after GTA 5, it felt like they took too long to release a game. But seeing how far they came with Red Dead, and they've even updated their Rage engine, which is what all their games run off of, seeing how many improvements they've went through, I understand why it's been 6 years since the last game came out. The advances they've made are incredible. The fact that it's native 4K on Xbox One X is amazing.
Rip.
Rip PlayStation users. The fact that it's native 4K and it runs at basically a locked 30 frames is impressive. I think the only other game that is on Xbox that even comes close to that is the Forza Horizon games. And regular Forza, which is, I'm using Horizon because it's also an open world game, but it's also a first party studio. So the fact that a third party studio is able to get it this far, it really shows if developers put in the time and know what they're doing, they can, how much they can get out of the current console generation.
Yeah,
Which Rockstar's always been the best. It's because GTA 5 came out at the very end of the life of the previous consoles, and it was still pushing what those consoles could even do. They're
It still looks good by modern standards.
yeah, they're really the best at inching out every ounce of performance they can get.
Let this be a lesson to you. If you take your time, if you put a lot of money into a project, if you make your workers work 100-hour weeks.
Yeah, that's something we didn't discuss.
No, we're reviewing the product. We're
yeah.
reviewing the product, not the situation. But yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, this is a feat. Absolutely. I think whether or not you like the gameplay or you like the story or we think that the tutorial is too long, you can't ignore how much effort was put in this game, how much detail is in this game, and yeah, it's a triumph for sure. And I'm very excited to continue playing it, as I'm sure you guys are. And who knows? We got another one in 2 weeks from now, another 8-bit chat. Back in 2 weeks, and who knows? Maybe we'll have updated thoughts. I don't think we'll have a lot of gaming news until then, because everyone's trying to get out of the way of Red Dead. So maybe we can come back with some updated thoughts.
I don't know how much updated thoughts I'll have.
We'll see. Hey, well, we can at least talk about stories.
Because next week spoiler, I'm going to BlizzCon next week. So
Okay, so you can get some review of that.
I'll have stories for next
Awesome.
podcast.
Well, that's been it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this, make sure to like us, like our page. Make sure to go support Red Dead if this sounds good to you. It's a great game. Obviously, we can't recommend it anymore, besides our tiny gripes with it. It's been great having you guys. Thanks for joining me today. You guys want to talk about, we've got Landon Corbin here. Beautiful man. Got Michael Smith. Beautiful man. I'm Angelo Oriema. Thanks for tuning in. You guys want to say goodbye? Yeehaw.
Can't wait
Good
for
day,
Red
mate.
Dead Revolver 2.
Red Dead Revolver 2. Can't wait for Red Dead Online.
Good night, everybody. Peace out.